Thank you so much. One actually had to listen very, very closely in order to get the right turns and follow you in every step of the path. Whilst these young gentlemen are carrying in something for our panelists to sit on, and whilst there was also a German thinker who was almost as devious as far as sort of turning around, was Georg Lichtenstein. He said, "I cannot promise that it is going to be better when things change, but I know for sure that things have to change in order to get better." So there seem to be some dilemmata in which we are and which we are facing. And Peter, do you already have a microphone with you? Can I just ask you to come to my side, because Peter Craven is now going to run the panel discussion, and well equipped, it doesn't really matter. So it's the microphone that I had over there. Peter, you're TV moderator, you're news anchor, you're political correspondent. Do you still do the Talk in Germany?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes. Fantastic. Yeah. And you were just nodding when I said we had to sort of follow Mr. Rademacher sort of run many, many bands.
Yeah.
I know that you are actually going to discuss the same kind of dilemmata, the dilemma that we have been listening to mirrored by Professor Rademacher.
That's right.
So it's the dilemma between making money on one side as a news organization, and yet on the other hand to be good.
And the way to do that is to be a good guy winner. Yeah, I thought that was a very, very good formulation. I'm very, very grateful for your address, Professor Dr. Rademacher. It was. I think it's given us the philosophical backdrop for the debate that we're going to have today. I'm not sure if it's actually up there. There it is: ratings versus quality, media caught between market pressure and the mission to educate. It's heavy language, yeah? Let's get the panelists, all of them, including Professor Dr. Rademacher down here. Charlotte Cole is there, yeah? And then I will introduce them quickly, and then we can launch straight into the debate. I can take this one and you can... Can you take that microphone? Sure. Yeah, okay. We're going to have introductory comments from each of the other panelists in the debate. It's a very interesting mixture of people in terms of their backgrounds and what have you, their ideas, some of them very contradictory because we've already been talking a little bit. Let me just introduce who the people are so that you know who you've got in front of you. Yeah? Dr. Charlotte Cole from New York City, is from the Sesame Workshop, and in that you can hear the word sesame. This is the organization behind that much-loved educational television program, Sesame Street. Now, beyond that, they've got a very broad outreach program of education, mainly for children. Non-profit media education organization is how they describe themselves. Dr. Cole is going to give us some background on that, and she might even, along the way, tell us a little bit about what Muppet diplomacy is. Yeah? I'm quite curious to know about that one. Yeah? Lynn Weil is sitting next to her. She is Director of Communications and External Affairs for the BBG. That is, and I'm going to quote here, Lynn, the independent body responsible for all US government and government-sponsored non-military international broadcasting. So think Voice of America, Radio Free Europe. And Lynn has also, she's got a journalistic background, but she's also spent quite a number of years treading the corridors of power in Washington, so that might help us in the debate, yeah? Mikhail Shvidkoy, here today, he's got plenty of accomplishments in the academic field and the cultural field, but he's also the director of he's the president of the Russian Television Academy Foundation, yeah? Currently, he is also currently the special envoy for international cultural cooperation to the Russian president, and he is a former Russian Minister of Culture. Yeah? Welcome to Bonn today. Welcome, ladies, as well. Let's go around here. Yeah? Trevor Nube is from Southern Africa. He's an entrepreneur and a publisher. He has a couple of titles in South Africa. He has a couple of titles in his homeland, Zimbabwe, as well. And I should mention a very important point about Trevor is that he has also won the prestigious German African Award for his dedication to press freedom, human rights, and democracy in Zimbabwe and the whole of Southern Africa. And definitely last but not least, we have Dr. Christoph Erhardt, yeah, from Deutsche Post DHL. They're the people who have the big tower up there looming over us. So I can't welcome you to Bonn. I can just simply say, yeah, thank you for joining us today. A key sponsor of this event, the Global Media Forum. But Dr. Erhardt is also Vice President of Corporate Communications to Deutsche Post DHL, and I think he's going to have a very interesting contribution to today's debate in terms of the interface between commerce and the corporate world and media and education. Yeah? Okay, I'll sit down in the middle, and I'll begin by going out here and asking Charlotte. Let's just look back up there. That's the subject we're going to be debating today. Ratings versus quality, media caught between market pressure and the mission to educate. Yeah? Charlotte,
thanks.
Your initial comments.
Is this on? Yes.
Yes.
I just want to say a few words just to give us some thoughts to think about as we move into the debate, which is really the most important part, is having this interaction as a panel. But I wanted to begin by mentioning that this topic of quality versus ratings is really something that's very central to the core values of Sesame Workshop, the company I work for. Over 40 years ago, when our education children's program Sesame Street was created, it was really conceived as an experiment. The founders, Joan Cooney, Lloyd Morissette, set out to determine if this relatively new medium, television, could be used to help children learn information of value. It was clear kids were learning from TV, it's just making sure that that learning was intentional. The idea was really to harness children's natural attraction to television and to present information of value in a medium that was already engaging kids. And with the concept of Sesame Street really came what was at the time a novel idea, which has now been referred to as edutainment. But this concept of bringing together education and entertainment rather than having them be separate in the medium realm. Well, the Sesame Street experiment was really quite a success. The program became very popular, not just in the United States, but as well in about 30 different locally produced adaptations that employ the same conceptual structure as Sesame Street, but have their own characters, their own educational messages, their own scripts, and their settings, the scripts written by local writers with involvement from local educators. And currently, the program Sesame Street is seen in over 150 countries throughout the world. But I really want to emphasize this local element, because as we consider the issue of quality versus ratings, localization is a factor that really should enter the dialogue. We as producers really need to invest in understanding the educational needs of children in our target audiences, and we need to endeavor to study what engages them. As the world changes, both children's needs and what attracts them to media changes. Many children live in parts of the world where the media they are exposed to is dominated by images from places in the world that have a different culture, language, sensibility, and locale from the ones that are familiar to them. Some children rarely have opportunities to see media created in their own country, reflecting their own daily life experiences. Yet all children need the opportunity to see and value images reflecting their own lives and their own culture. So as we seek to answer the question of quality versus ratings, it's really important that we understand both what we mean by quality and what it is that ratings are measuring. How quality is defined differs for different audiences, and further, as we consider ratings, we need to think about who's reflected in those ratings and how we might reach children who lack access to media and who aren't even captured in ratings data. So I'll end here where I started, with the hope that we will consider the role of educational programs and the quality versus rating debates, that when we consider this, we factor in the importance of bringing together both education and entertainment, and importantly, that we consider the needs of children who lack access to media and the ways we might be able to reach them in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Charlotte. Yeah. Lynn.
Thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to address this international, very well-informed group, and I look forward to learning from you all over the next couple of days. As Peter had indicated, I work for the Broadcasting Board of Governors, which is an independent federal agency of the U.S. government. We are bipartisan, and the vast majority of those who work for the BBG are journalists. I happen to work in management, but as Peter indicated, I'm a former journalist myself. The BBG's mission is to inform, engage, and connect people around the world in support of freedom and democracy. If you'd like to learn much more about the BBG, our annual report is available on our website at www.bbg.gov. And there you'll find a lot of information, just some top lines for this audience, many of whom are already well aware of the BBG. Our journalists' work is seen, heard, and read in 59 languages in more than 100 countries. Our global unduplicated weekly audience has grown to a record 187 million as measured last year. I've been with the BBG for just over 4 months. Previously, I was engaged with international media through the U.S. State Department and as a staffer for the U.S. Congress. So I'm no expert on international broadcasting, but I do have some authority, mostly borrowed from my colleagues, so forgive me if I continually referred to my notes while speaking with you for the next couple of minutes. Our research is required by the law that established the BBG and provides our authorities. We spend up to $10 million per year on research, and that's a pittance compared to what many commercial media spend, but it does help orient our programming and help maximize our impact and our reach. Our general audience research worldwide reveals the topics that we can describe as educational are some of the most highly ranked around the globe. Health and healthcare, technology, and social issues compete well with political news for spots in the top 50% of the topics that we have ranked. And I can tell you more about that perhaps in the Q&A if you like, the other topics that are also popular, but education programs consistently rate toward the top. Voice of America, or VOA's special English programs, are one of our more popular offerings. Launched in 1959, VOA's Special English is a multimedia source of daily news and information for millions of millions of English learners worldwide, especially who want to learn American English. Our audio programs and captioned videos are written using a vocabulary at the intermediate and upper beginner level, and they're read at 1/3 slower than regular English VOA programming. Our online texts, MP3s, and podcasts let people read, listen, and learn American English and much more. VOA's special English programs have many indices for popularity. One is anecdotal. The U.S. State Department tells us that VOA's special English is hugely popular as a tool for developing listening skills in Iran. For those who cannot access it online in Iran, our content is copied onto CDs, and we understand that these are even sold commercially due to the great demand. We also get strongly supportive listener feedback through our website and through social media such as Facebook and LinkedIn, as well as YouTube, where our content is reposted. And this feedback comes from places as diverse as Pakistan, China, Turkey, and Vietnam, among many other places. Now, these educational programs are valuable, and we know it, and we remain dedicated to their success. But audiences have changed over time, and with the changes in the media that we on this panel will be continuing to talk about with you today. So the BBG offers a diverse array of programs that aim to educate while also engaging audiences according to their expectations of today's media. And that means being more lively, more conversational, and even at times entertaining. I'll give you one example at the start. There's a program in Mandarin that's available only online called OMG Mayu. It's conducted by a young, energetic, blonde American woman named Jessica Beinecke, And she does this in Mandarin language. It's a video blog. And she attracts new fans through several media, including at the iTunes store, where its popular teaching segments are now available free as podcasts. Millions of people in China and elsewhere have come to love Jessica's catchy video feature, which teaches the newest and most authentic American slang and encourages her fans to ask about expressions being used by young people in the United States. We also have programs oriented toward Cuba through the Office of Cuba Broadcasting, which produces radio and TV Marti. They have a new, very popular program called Avanza Cuba, or Cuba Forward, which connects Cubans with business experts from the United States, Europe, and Latin America to educate them about current trends in business and economics. We have programs that are especially for the former Soviet Union and for the states of the former Warsaw Pact. Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty, a name that is familiar to many of you, has a Georgian service, which is now partnering with the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, to launch a new one-year certificate program in the Georgian capital, Tbilisi, to provide 20 aspiring journalists in Georgia hands-on education in new media. We also have programs across the Middle East through the Middle East Broadcasting Network in 21 countries. For television, we have Al Hura TV, which recently co-produced a 5-part documentary series on the Arab Spring that goes beyond the headlines to examine the history of the authoritarian regimes in the region, the causes of the current conflicts, and the situation on the ground today. Now, MBN, Middle East Broadcasting Networks, has these programs. Mostly they're serious news and information, but there's also room for more. Radio Sawa, which is targeted toward a younger audience, 35 years of age and younger, takes a unique approach. It produces short news bursts rather than long form, and it focuses on what's happening right now, because our audience research across the region indicates that the young people who listen to Radio Sawa want immediate news in very short bits. They also want to hear a lot of music. So if you tune to Radio Sawa at any given time, you're more likely to hear music than news, but you do hear a certain amount of news content at the right time, and people are listening because it's really focused on what they want rather than what we think they want. So in conclusion, the Broadcasting Board of Governors produces a healthy balance of offerings, both educational and entertaining, for our viewers and listeners and readers around the world. We respect our audience's tastes, while at the same time we work to maintain a balance of what you might call meat and potatoes programming. And this is combined with a healthy serving of the vegetables, as it were, the educational program. And for those who won't come to the table unless it includes some variety in the diet, we produce colorful vegetables such as OMG Mayu in Mandarin, and where necessary, some fruit or dessert such as rock and roll on Radio Sawa. We do this because our mission is to inform, engage, and connect people around the world in support of freedom and democracy, and we want our audiences coming back for more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Tim? Mikhail Shvidkov, Special Envoy to the Russian President.
Very special. This will be better. Distinguished colleagues, in one American stores, mega stores, have a very interesting poster. We are shop for the well-educated consumers. And I want to ask you, who our audience? What we want? We want to make from our audience well-educated consumers, or we want to make from our audience well-educated citizen, well-educated individuality, or something else. That's the main problem. Because when we talk about the pressure of the market, we will do program for well-educated consumers. No more and never something else. If we want to make and create civil society where will be fundamental value as human being, humanity will be its priorities, in this case, we never must work on the television. We must look something another job. Believe me, I know this very well. I was a founder of the Russian channel culture in the 1997. I make a very poor television channel because we have not advertising. We try and make a television for the civil society where we talk about the fundamental human being value. And we want to be a very white, good girls. And we have the chance, because I work on this channel work on the big broadcasting system, where work a lot of the bad girls, because they sell themselves. And this is normal. And we have 10% from advertising on in other channels. And we work we make a very spiritual, very sophisticated, very nice, very pleasant channel. And this is a main problem of TV, because we try to find the delicate balance between business, humanity, education and culture. And in any case, if you want to make the real product, you will be work for commercial television. I'm sorry, maybe a little bit not polite. I am a diplomat, I must be much more sophisticated, but because I'm a TV person, I'm quite direct, you know. Till now, I work for 3 television shows as host. And one television show is very sophisticated. On the channel Culture, with title Culture Revolution, we discuss about different social, human problem of the contemporary life. Audience, 3 million people, never more. And I have as a host the program, there's a Sunday midday show, 2 hours, we sing songs, very popular, with the audience. If you want, we will start now, immediately. 15 million at least. 1 hour, 90 minutes show, 30 minutes advertising, everybody happy. You know, the problem is today, we talk a lot about the TV as information. In Russia, this is one of the most complicated and very political matter of discussion. We must have television who gives the truth information. We live in the ocean of information. In the ocean of information. But we live in the world without understanding. And this is the main problem. A lot of information, but nobody never try to understand what's kind of this information, what's the quality of this information. I agree with Mr. Professor Rademacher. I'm sorry. The problem is, or you make good quality, or you have a very wide audience. Because the most popular show on our television, I try to find the very polite word, not sophisticated. Even when we talk about the education of the children on public channel, yeah? In this case, it's education just through the games. Intellectual and half intellectual, but just games. Never serious education. That's a problem, you know. You know, in Russia, I started work on the education channel in the 1967. 1967. We made in Soviet Union Channel 4 of the national broadcasting system. This was the educational channel. And it was a big discussion. What we want. We want to make the lesson English, Russian, the literature, physics, or something else, or we won't make a television, because it's a difference. My first job on television, I wrote the screenplay, script for the television performance about the Cornell and Racine, the famous classicists of the 17th century. But I write the show. This was a game. Because, you know, in any case, television is not the university. Television, in any... we may talk about everything, but television is entertainment. Because on television you have a very dangerous button. You may push on and you may push off. I'm ready. All of us make a television for this audience. Very sophisticated, very polite, but no more, never look, don't want to watch this television. Mm-hmm. I repeat again, this is one of the very delicate problems for all of us. Or we make educational culture program for the 3 million people who won't be educated and culture. Or we will make a television for 100 millions. But these 100 millions won't be educated consumers. And this very dangerous trend, not of television. Television is just a mirror of our contemporary life in Germany, in France, in the United States, even in Russia. You know, and this main problem, what we want to make television as mission, or we want to make television as industrial product. And in Russia, of course, Russia quite spiritual, even now, even during the new capitalistic drive, we enough sophisticated and enough spiritual country. And of course, nobody from my colleagues who work on the commercial channels never said, I want to make television as industrial product. Everybody said, I want to make television as a mission. And this is very serious. But because for me, for myself and for a friend of mine who came from Russia today, the television is a mission. I find, in conclusion, one time the Thomas Mann wrote, the theater is a place where the mob transformed to the nation. You understand me, yeah? And if we want to make the television where nation transformed to the mob, this is one deal. If we want to make the television where mob transformed to the nation, this is another deal. And we must make a choice, each of us. I don't know another answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mikhail Shvidkoy.